side to our customers, we've been able to achieve that.
My guest today is Mark Zeni, Director of Fulfillment with First Solar. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Bob.
Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. Just tell us a little bit, please, about First Solar.
Sure. First Solar is a global provider of PV solar energy solutions. We're best known for really driving down the cost of solar electricity and also for building utility-scale PV solar plants globally.
Now, as I understand it, you were out to implement integrated project management, which I guess we can refer to henceforth as IPM. Tell me a little bit about the business challenges that you were facing that led you in that direction.
Sure. We had gone through a substantial period of growth in the systems business, and the systems business is the group that does the engineering, procurement, and construction of our utility-scale power plants. And that growth went from 2009 through 2012 and actually into this year, 2013. And one of the things we found was we had built up a whole host of sort of point applications to help us manage the business, different tools and different applications. And coming into 2013, we came to the realization with the volume of projects that we're building, unless we integrated those applications using something like the integrated project management tool, we're finding it very difficult to continue to manage the business.
So the proliferation of projects, and I imagine that there were some external variables happening in the industry that caused you to want to do this at the same time. I mean, was it a question of rising costs, greater volatility, variability in demand? Were those also factors that you had to consider?
Absolutely. Two primary ones was the globalization. Historically, we had started in the systems business in North America, but we were going global very quickly. And also the ability to continue to drive down those costs and keeping disconnected systems just wasn't working for us.
Yeah. So which aspects specifically of the supply chain did First Solar want to link with their projects?
Well, as part of this IPM, we implemented a closed-loop MRP, where we brought information in from our ERP systems, processed it in rapid response, and then pushed it back out to our ERP systems for execution. But it wasn't so much about just integrating supply chain with the project business. We were really looking to integrate all aspects of the business. So that included our project pipeline and business development. That included project scheduling. That included engineering and construction. It also included cost control, finance. All of those various aspects are now integrated as part of this IPM initiative.
Integrated, yes, but you also needed to assess the impact of supply chain deviations that would allow you to make these critical supply chain decisions, and you needed to make the decisions faster, I would imagine. So do you agree that that's an important part, an important consideration for a company, and how did you manage to do that?
Absolutely, yeah, that's a very good point, Bob. And in fact, all manufacturers today and all businesses today are facing shorter lead times. They're facing increasing velocities. They're continuing to drive inventories down. And when you do things like that, the impact of a small deviation will ripple through your value chain a lot more rapidly than it has in the past when you were able to move slowly, offer longer lead times and are buffered by larger inventories. Right? In the construction business, we are faced with a myriad of variables that we just don't have any control over. So being able to identify those deviations quickly, understand what they mean, and process that data to come up with the right decision and the right way to move forward before that deviation works through the value chain, we find as very critical.
Do you feel that you have achieved visibility upstream and downstream in your supply chain, visibility to customer demand, upstream visibility to your suppliers and your manufacturers?
Certainly on the downstream side to our customers, we've been able to achieve that visibility. One of our next phases using IPM and using rapid response will be able to move more into supply chain visibility and moving upstream into our suppliers.
Look in the other direction, yeah. What are some of the key analytics that you rely on?
First and foremost, with rapid response, our key analytics that we're looking for is the ability of a user to be able to pull their own scenarios, make changes to the schedule, or make changes to supply, make changes to demand, and look at what that impact is across the business. We couldn't do that before, right? That would take days to do. Now a user could do that in minutes. Being able to compare those scenarios, understand the impact across inventories, schedule, costs, cash flow, and profitability, we find to be a very powerful tool.
What did it look like before? I mean, was it just a question of a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of silos across the organization, or what exactly?
It wasn't pretty, Bob. It was slide a pizza under the door with a bunch of analysts in the room and don't let them out for a couple of weeks until they come up with the answer. That's literally what it was.
Yeah. Is the data was it a question of also trying to access accurate data before, and you have more accurate data now, or was it always there and now it's just a question of how best to manipulate it?
It's both having the data there and being able to process that data and understand what the impact is of changes to the various aspects of the business. Having all of that plugged together gives us the answer in minutes rather than days.
So help me to understand what are all the various data sources that Rapid Response is pulling from. It's got to be multiple places.
Absolutely. We pull from various enterprise systems, from our pipeline management system that has our project pipeline. We pull from our finance systems. We pull from our project scheduling system. We pull from our ERP system, of course, for master data and delivery schedules. But we don't just pull data. Once we process that data, we understand it, and we come up with the plan. Then we also push data as well. We push system data back into our finance systems. We push data into our construction MES system, which tells the field exactly what to do and when to do it. We push data back into our ERP system for financials. We push data back into our POs and back into our project scheduling system as well.
And does this enable you to provide this level of visibility of data to all aspects of the organization? Is everyone on the same page? Are they all dealing with working from the same numbers?
Yes, that's
so
the beauty.
Consensus?
And that's the beauty of integrated project management, is all the execution functions around a project are all working on the same piece of data, or all on the same data. So if somebody changes something in one area, let's say in engineering, the repercussions to suppliers and the repercussion to the field is known instantly.
So what bottom line benefits, how exactly does it look differently now? Is that visible to the customer that you're able to react to them faster, or is this mostly an internal thing that you did?
It's largely internal from the standpoint of beforehand, we had data change in one system, and it wasn't timely communicated through the various systems that we were using. And that just ended up in a lot of confusion, a lot of errors, and really a lot of waste. So this system really helps us to run tighter, right? Continue to drive the cost of these power plants down and run more efficiently.
Are there any aspects of your previous business that Rapid Response actually replaced or made that you no longer needed?
Certainly. A lot of our analysis before was done on spreadsheets. We've been able to pull a lot of that functionality away. We've been able to really not have to rely on spreadsheet experts to analyze our business. That's what the Rapid Response tool does for us now.
Mm-hmm. So this sits kind of, almost sounds like it sits at the center of a type of ecosystem within the company, and everything kind of is almost like in the middle of a web of some kind. Would that be a proper metaphor to say?
That's a very good way to look at it, Bob. It is really the center of our planning and analysis system, and it's hooked up to our other enterprise systems where we pull data in, do the analysis, do the planning, and then once we have the plan, then we push it out back out to the execution systems.
What would you say is your favorite part of Rapid Response?
Oh, my favorite part of Rapid Response is clearly the ability of of Rapid Response to be able to be configured to your particular business. It's a tool that is rapidly deployed, and it's very configurable to your business.
And for the future, what is your number one goal that what's the next thing you need to achieve?
I'd say the next thing that we need to achieve is really driving the supplier collaboration part and getting our suppliers more engaged with the tool so that we can more integrate the entire value stream. And I will say that for those of us, this is now our fourth stage, Bob, of Rapid Response deployment, and for those of us that have been involved in the various deployments and those of us that use the tool, we view Rapid Response much in the same way that First Solar views solar energy, and that is we've just come too far, and we've seen too much of what's possible to be able to want to turn back now.
Well, good luck to you in the future, Mark. Thank you so much for sharing your story at First Solar with us today. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
I've been speaking with Mark Zeni of First Solar. Thank you very much for watching.